Coming in off the street.
Okay. I was like, what about you? You like drink?
Can you really slide the picture? This is where I asked you.
Yeah, you go right. I cannot hear that. What? Oh no.
I got focus on.
He's in the show, right? Unless he comes with the perfect right.
I was rocking the final yesterday.
I want to get skillshare.
I gotta go up. It all started because
I was kicked upstairs.
so we're gonna press a bunch of things.
How you been? Twice. Great. Good morning, everybody.
Welcome.
Are you well?
So glad you're here, Catherine Johnson.
Of course, Captain. Good to
Thank
see
you.
you.
Good to
again.
see you. This is wonderful.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're glad you're here.
How are you? Nice
Great to see you today. Thank you. This is a
Hello,
real
Sonia
treat.
Design Manager. Nice to see you.
Hello, welcome, welcome.
Nix's funeral.
Thanks for bringing that.
How are you? Nice to see you. All right, great. Hey, everybody. Nice to see you. Secretary.
How are you? Good to see you.
you both.
Good to see you.
Hey, how are you doing? Nice to see you.
Hi, Governor.
Nice to see you.
I think Catherine is our tour guide.
Yeah,
I am your tour guide, yes. I am the tour guide. You step this way.
wherever you want us to go, we will go.
Okay, great. So the tour is going to be for the state officials and the media. So everyone else, we're going to actually ask that you go downstairs to the press conference room. We'll be there in about 15 minutes. So we do have clients in the building, so we want to be respectful to services that are happening right now. A group this size would be a little too much for us to make sure we don't impact victim services. So with that on the tour, we're going to start through
Okay.
this door.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll
Thank you, thank you.
get through my name here. So
All right, on the second.
That's your speaker. That's not what we think someone's coming to the center with a gun. But we did quite a few listening sessions with survivors. And I want to feel safe when I go into a place, and I want to make sure I feel like I'm not the one who committed the crime. And you think about where victims of crime often go, a courthouse, a law enforcement entity, that can feel very intimidating, where this is a space that says, once you're in our safe space, this space is designed for you and mine. Let everybody kind of It's a big following.
That's a difference.
It's awesome. This is our main waiting room. You can tell it's a comfortable place on purpose, so it doesn't look like a typical government building. We kind of practice trauma-informed care. We talk about, does it look good, feel good, and smell good? We want to create a place where people want to be and want to come back. We offer childcare to people who come with their children or caregiver. We know that so often children have to hear the story over and over again, or their parents sanitize what they need to say because they don't want to impact their child. So by providing that childcare, it really helps expedite the process for us serving survivors and helps children get the care that they need as well.
Great.
Okay, we're going to go on to the next phase.
Yeah, the lighting was a little bit.
Sorry, man.
So really any type of victimization that falls within that umbrella, our partners here can provide support. We have a process called navigation, which is one of 8 navigation rooms, and it's sort of like a triage nurse would be in an emergency center. They're going to assess what's going on, do a risk assessment to see how dangerous the case is, and then based off of that information, it helps the client and the professional decide what's the plan. Do we need to get law enforcement immediately because this person's at risk of being killed and their abuser has a gun in their car and he's riding around the parking lot? Do we need to get an attorney to give some legal advice so that person knows what the next best step is through our partners and you involved? Do they need access to shelter and safety planning and filing a restraining order? Right, and we know that people can access a multitude of services. Most people come back for multiple services, so 70% of our clients return. And on average, when they visit the first time, they go to 5
It's a down.
It's a 50-50. He's going to go down this way, but
Right here?
if he's going to go either down that way or that way, because that way's the law enforcement suite. This
Yeah,
way,
you know this, Joshua. I haven't been here in a while. Which way are we going? Probably this way.
that's my guess. Well, it's a 50-50. Everyone's going to come down here. Yeah, the tight hallways.
So, you know, tomorrow is his 100th day.
Really?
Isn't that fantastic?
We're going to have to,
Okay, let's dance. We're gonna all dance here.
we're all going to have to, spread out.
Okay, I'm going down. I'm taking a shot that he's coming this way. He is.
I was fairly sure.
They were until we moved that.
She gestured this way. Huh? Oh, yeah.
If you think your parent has a small child or have any type of a disability or mobility challenge, it was devastating. And so often people didn't follow through the process. They were blamed for being non-compliant. We had a system that made it difficult to be compliant. So now they come in, meet with an advocate, complete that restraining order, they get sworn in, and the judge comes on a video chat right here, and they never have to leave the center. We can provide them childcare, hospitality. While they're waiting, they can talk with the mental health professional. They can get that comprehensive service immediately versus sitting in a courtroom waiting for hours.
Do you have pro bono legal assistance here of people who are at this facility?
We do. So we work with Elon Law School. They have a law clinic here called the Emergency Legal Services Clinic. That was the #1 unmet need of victims in our first 6 months of opening, is they wanted to talk to an attorney before they talked to police or before they filed a restraining order. So actually Elon got a Governor's Crime Commission grant in 2016, which was their largest grant for law school history, and they opened that clinic, which is led by attorney Margaret Dudley, and has been very successful here in our partnership.
What happens in the summertime when they're not in school?
That law clinic operates year-round.
Okay.
Yep, so it's not on a student schedule, it's on like a office space kind of.
Okay, great.
Yep. We won't walk down the hall, but these are all examples of intake rooms. We have lots of them. Some are designed more if someone's meeting with an attorney. Some are designed with toys in case a parent doesn't want to leave their child. So we're going to go this way. Everybody on the hallway is here full time. So the people that work here on the perimeter and the services to survivors happen in the middle. So this is Family Services of the Piedmont. They have victim advocates, they do safety planning, access to emergency shelter. So they're assist with restraining order filing. So they're all housed here. So if someone needs emergency shelter, they can access that through a victim advocate.
Y'all watch your step up over here.
Follow the county.
This is
Can we just have a couple people rotate in and out just so we can be respectful of all of our friends in the media? So if somebody wants to get a couple shots, will everybody else come out?
So this is the medical clinic operated by Cone Health. So one of the things about family justice centers is that they can identify gaps and solve problems that maybe were hard to solve in isolation, but when enough people start talking about them. In Guilford County, we didn't have a child medical provider.
This is why I don't want it to take me a while.
You want to sneak in and then have somebody else?
I'll give you a little tip. We're going to stop at that wall right there eventually. And that's Dale Nix's memorial wall. So you might want to.
Okay.
He didn't, but he could. So he that was like the first practice. You weren't there because you were with the other group. Because we were at the very end of the dam. So yeah, that was the first time. Very end, last time. You had to get left because you went to join the other group. My movement, anxiety. Absolutely. Yeah, that's an obstacle in my way. I don't care. I don't have to. We don't typically walk back into space, but Family Services of the Piedmont Child Advocacy Center. Oh my God. Child Advocacy Centers do forensic interviews with children that were referred by social services or law enforcement. Those interviews with the law enforcement teams and the social services teams all run here, which is great for partnership, and then the Code Health Medical team is here as well. But that happens back there, and typically a district attorney would come over with that. We do. Yeah. That's right, so there's a specialized interview and then this in the room over there is an observation room. Back to the practical. So we squeeze it in.
Yes. What building is this?
The county owns the building, and actually on the top floor is finance and the bottom is human resources. But what we like about that is anybody can be coming in here for any reason.
It gives you a little more anonymity.
I would show you the break room what people are breaking, but I do think it's important to show the break room because the magic of the Family Justice Center is the partnerships that we have. It's not the titles of the people that work here. So we do a lot to foster relationship. We can't tour Family Justice Center anymore without pausing to honor Sergeant Dale Nix. He worked here as a law enforcement leader for 6.5 years, literally transformed how law enforcement should partner within a Family Justice Center. Just last week, the Board of Commissioners voted to rename the law enforcement suite after Dale, which we think is very appropriate. And he's the only professional we've ever named anything after here, and I know he would be honored by that.
I was moved at his funeral.
who was an amazing person. Governor, we brought you a bracelet. You're welcome. His family had all of those made, and so basically everybody in Greensboro is wearing one.
Good.
Yes.
Thanks.
That's right. You're welcome. This is all part of Greensboro Police Department's suite. Just like we have it for children, we have an adult interview room as well with the closed circuit. So if they had an adult who needed to have an additional interview, they don't have to go to the police department. They don't have to go through any of that. All that can happen from right here. And actually, Sergeant Nix created this space. So this hallway is Greensboro Police Department has a sergeant, a corporal, and 12 detectives that are here full time.
Wow.
They investigate all of the child and adult crime for domestic and sexual violence throughout the city. On the back hall, the sheriff's office has their domestic violence unit. They serve all the restraining orders, and they also serve the high conflict custody paperwork. And we know there's often a lot of overlap in civil and criminal crime.
How are you?
Sergeant Bonatti, over the Greensboro Police Department.
Are we going this way?
We're gonna go out this door right here.
It's a dance.
So we have about 25 officers on the staff, so it's pretty safe space. I understand the steps are preferred versus the elevator. We're going to go down to the lower level for this actually is a building that was a million years ago, and when the county purchased it, they added floors. But it added a lot of capacity within the Mr. Cashin, this building was named after her. She was a tremendous advocate for the Family Justice Center.
We got a JJ.
Worked for them for a year and a half. And they came on.
Do you know who this is?
No. I was like the second to last person. Oh.
Nobody has shared that.
a minute and we can get started. Sorry. Excuse me. If you want to take a seat, there's seats for you. There's chairs for you all up in there.
He has been here a long time. Yeah, we, for the past couple of years,
From South Carolina through Transylvania. Maybe when we do this month's celebration next year,
yeah.
we'll have to go throughout.
It's great for us. It's great for us.
Yeah, it's
That's right. That's right.
How are you?
We are survivor speaking today. Yeah, Mrs. Ballard today too.
So, since we do all of our calls, not only were there everywhere, but there was a restaurant right next door.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've heard good things. Lauren, they run Camp Hope too. They started Camp Hope last summer, and they just really see what they've got going on there.
They're all, like, all the leaders of the get together at all?
So all of the Family Justice Center, like I lead the statewide Family Justice Center work, so I kind of convene us nationally, and then we run a statewide Family Justice Center conference here in Greensboro. It's about 600 professionals every year. This year will be in November. Typically is right after the election.
Make sure that all the leaders of all that, whether it's meetings, all over,
Sure.
or, like, you get their pictures or anything, but, just so at least someone can wear that.
That would be great. That'd be really good. Thank you.
And then can everyone look at this camera right here? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Here, so we can get started in just a second.
That's fine. Get a picture with you and go ready to go.
I'm so sorry. I'll wear
All right, everybody, we're gonna get started.
Alrighty. Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Gabe Esparza. I am the Secretary of the North Carolina Department of Administration. First, let me thank the governor for declaring April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
That was my news.
Early preview. Your declaration and today's event are bringing much needed awareness to this difficult and critical issue. Thank you also to the Attorney General, Sheriff Rogers, District Attorney Crump, Chair Alston, Vaughn, Secretary Buffalo, Chief Thompson, and others from law enforcement and victim services who are with us today. And I also want to have a special gratitude to our survivors, including you, Valerie. Thank you for being here with us today. And to the Family Justice Center for the amazing work to serve our community and providing all of us with a place to gather as we mark this important month. So you may be wondering, what is the connection between the Department of Administration and this important month? Well, in addition to being the business manager of state government affairs, NCDOA includes an advocacy arm, and one of our key areas is advocating on behalf of women and youth. My mother worked for 40 years in social services, and so despite the fact that she would come home every day and would not be able to tell me what she was actually working on, I later understood her journey, and it inspired me to serve on the board of Pat's Place in Charlotte, a child advocacy center there. And so I understand this work and appreciate all that you do. The devastating reality is that sexual assault and sexual violence impact people, including kids, amongst families across North Carolina and beyond. According to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, over half of women and nearly 1/3 of men will experience some form of sexual violence, including physical contact, in their life. Fighting this epidemic requires a concerted effort to spread awareness and education about sexual assault. It takes resources and support for survivors. Our department, through the Council of Women and Youth Involvement, administers grants and technical assistance to sexual assault, domestic violence, and violence prevention programs, including several here in the Triad area. Almost $4 million in state grants to centers in 89 counties that support sexual assault survivors, nearly $6 million in state grants to centers in 96 counties that support domestic violence survivors, and we distribute funds via the Federal Family Violence Prevention and Services Act, nearly $4 million in recurring funds across the state as well. These funds help organizations provide crucial services including counseling, transportation, shelter, and education in communities across North Carolina. In fact, during the last fiscal year, more than 8,500 sexual assault victims and more than 55,000 domestic violence victims received some type of in-person or remote services from these grants. We know that these resources are fundamental to building stronger, safer, and healthier communities, and that these programs need continued, reliable support so they can keep serving their communities. You can find a directory of all of these programs at our website, doa.nc.gov. Thank you for being here and joining us today.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Avery Crump, and I'm the DA of the North Carolina 24th Prosecutorial District, also known as Guilford County. I have over 2 decades worked as an assistant DA, a district court judge, and now the elected DA. As a former district DA, most of my caseload consisted of violent offenses with an emphasis on sexual assaults against women and children. Sexual assault is a pervasive issue that affects countless individuals across our state, leaving lasting scars on survivors and their loved ones. Now, we have an obligation as a society to pursue justice, as well as provide support and healing for all victims. As district attorneys, our role in this battle is paramount. And it is our duty to stand at the forefront of efforts to eradicate sexual violence in our communities. Now, in North Carolina, we have spent the past few years addressing a critical issue that long plagued our criminal justice system: the backlog of untested rape kits. Thousands of kits went untested for years, leaving survivors without resolution and perpetrators free to commit further crimes. Now, when he was Attorney General, Governor Stein recognized the gravity of this issue. He led our state in implementing comprehensive measures to tackle the backlog head on. Through initiatives like the Sexual Assault Kit Initiative and collaboration between law enforcement agencies, forensic laboratories, the legislature, and district attorneys' offices across the state, just about a year ago, we officially ended the backlog for the rape kits. Now we have made remarkable progress in testing these kits and bringing offenders to justice. Looking ahead, the work is far from over. But the dedication and commitment displayed by everyone involved inspire hope. Now, district attorneys play a crucial role in this process by ensuring that each case is pursued diligently and that survivors are treated with the utmost respect and compassion. We must continue to advocate for necessary resources, support legislative reforms, and foster a culture of accountability within our offices to ensure that justice prevails. Now, as we observe Sexual Assault Awareness Month, I urge each of us to raise our voices and spread awareness about the importance of combating sexual assault. Let us stand in solidarity with survivors, educate our communities, and advocate for policies that support their journey towards healing and justice. Together, we can create a safer, more compassionate world where sexual violence is not tolerated and every survivor's voice is heard. Thank you. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Attorney Jackson, Attorney General Jackson.
Thank you, Mrs. Crump. Very good to see all of you. And want to echo one of the statements that she made about the rape kit backlog. She is 100% right. The rape kit backlog was a major problem. It became a major priority for my predecessor. I can't remember his name. It'll come to me. And then that mission was accomplished. I want you to know that under my leadership, we're going to maintain a very close eye on this. It will continue to be a major priority. I've had a chance to have extensive meetings with folks at our state crime lab to talk about this, as well as a host of other issues. There is no question that this is an epidemic. We are going to use every tool at our disposal to meet this challenge. Last week I had a roundtable with a lot of service providers, folks who you are probably familiar with and organizations with whom you all probably work on a regular basis. And they gave me their view of what is happening on the ground right now. And they told some stories. And I think this is a matter where it's not just enough to give the numbers. The stories are what really connect with people. We have a handful of matters that are of extreme high priority, a handful of cases that I've been recently briefed on that have our total focus and commitment. So I just want folks to know that while we do speak often in terms of metrics, we're focused on people's lives. And we have people who you all may never meet at the crime lab or at another NCDOJ facility that work extremely hard on behalf of individuals, not metrics, but individuals across the state, because that's where their heart is. And if you're in this room, you do this for a living, that's where your heart is too. So NCDOJ has your back, and we hope that you have theirs, and we are delighted to be here. Family justice centers are the way of the future, and we see them spreading across the state, and we're very grateful that this county has made such an investment. And to the taxpayers of this county, I would say, job well done. You did the right thing to support this effort here. This is going to be something that produces dividends for you, your family, your community for decades. Thank you all very much, and I think, Valerie, you're up next.
Good afternoon. I'm Valerie Patterson, and I am a quilter, a writer, and a grandmother. I am also a survivor of sexual assault and a volunteer with the Guilford County Family Justice Center. I'm here because I do not want any woman, any survivor, to have to navigate through the aftermath of this horrific experience alone. In 1981, when I was in my 20s, I was violently raped. While over 40 years ago, I will never forget the terror I felt. Being held at knife point, I was so terrified that I was going to die. I tried to fight him off, but he had control. After he raped me, I called the police and then went to the hospital. In 1981, there was no DNA testing that could help the police find my assailant and prevent other rapes. Thankfully, that is no longer true. Initially, I couldn't identify my assailant in the hundreds of mugshots that I saw. I felt paralyzed by fear and trapped in my emotional turmoil. When he raped two other women. Fortunately, one of the other victims was able to identify him in a mugshot. I then identified him myself. Once he was in custody, the district attorney was our only contact. There was no victim advocate to guide us through the court process until he was convicted almost 2 years later. While we didn't have an advocate or anything close to what the Family Justice Center offers today, we 3 victims had each other. In 1983, our rapist was convicted, and we felt justice was served. But that's not the end of my story of sexual assault. The trauma of that horrific night was securely tucked inside me. For decades, I buried my emotions and tried to hide what happened to me. A few years ago, I ran into one of the women who testified at the criminal case. Reuniting with her initially triggered my trauma, and the emotions of my assault creeped out. I could no longer hide from my past, but found comfort in our relationship. She encouraged me to tell my story. I mentioned I'm a quilter, and in 2019, I spent 4 months crafting this quilt. I call it Hell and Hope. The process of creating the knife I faced and the fiery hell and fabric and thread was a cathartic experience for me. The hand in the quilt is holding my trauma, and the butterfly on the fingertip is guiding me toward hope. Now, this quilt is dedicated to all victims and survivors of sexual assault. My journey included justice, which is not the case for every survivor. Assailants must be caught and held accountable. Collecting DNA evidence is key, but more critical is processing the rape kits, and I appreciate the backlog being taken care of. Also is pursuing the cases as quickly as possible. Victims deserve justice. Partnerships between advocates, law enforcement, district attorneys, medical professionals, counselors, and more are critical. This place, the Guilford County Family Justice Center, is designed to provide a blanket of needed services to victims and their families. Together, we can help victims become survivors on their pathway to healing and solace. Victims and survivors, you are not alone. Help and hope are here. Thank you. I pass the
What a powerful story shared. And what a beautiful depiction of hope. Thank you, Valerie. Welcome to the Family Justice Center. We are so honored to host the Governor and Attorney General and Secretary of Administration and Secretary of Public Safety and so many more amazing leaders in North Carolina. Thank you so much for being with us. As you've heard, the Family Justice Center is a one-stop shop. One place where survivors of child abuse, domestic violence, sexual assault, elder abuse, human trafficking, and stalking can come. Through our partnership, we provide comprehensive wraparound services to survivors and their families and work strategically to hold offenders accountable. We create communities for survivors through our intentional collaboration with the goal to always foster hope, healing, and justice. This June marks our 10th anniversary. Our partnership, that is worthy of applause. Our partnership has truly transformed Guilford County and beyond. To date, almost 100,000 survivors have come through our doors, getting life-saving medical, legal, social, advocacy, and peer support services. In addition, through our extensive collaboration with our partners in public safety and criminal justice, we have increased offender accountability and enhanced the safety of all residents in Guilford County. It is my honor to introduce Governor Stein. I had the opportunity to work with him when he was the Attorney General and was really moved by his leadership in addressing the sexual assault backlog. And I'm so thankful for his leadership in North Carolina. Welcome, Governor Stein.
Katherine Johnson is an impressive human being. And in fact, I'm going to pat myself on the back because I had the wisdom to give her a Dogwood Award 2 years ago for the incredible services that she provides to the people of Guilford County. It was wonderful to take a tour of the Family Justice Center. Thank you for being here, Secretary Esparza, District Attorney Crump, Attorney General Jeff Jackson, my successor. Who is my successor? Jeff Jackson. Catherine, good to see all the distinguished guests and friends here who make such a difference in the safety and well-being of our people. I do want to say a special word to you, Valerie, for your bravery. I mean, to be able to stand up in front of a crowd, stand up in front of television cameras and talk about what was likely the worst time of your life takes a unique form of bravery, and it takes a compassionate heart who wants to do everything you can so that other people don't experience the pain you did. And your expression of your liberation from your pain is just incredible. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
There are so many organizations, so many partners in this building working together to provide wraparound support to people when they most need it. It's really an impressive thing to watch. If you are here, you can talk to a victim advocate. You can get help filing a restraining order. You can receive medical care. You can talk to law enforcement. You can find information about a shelter where you can go to be safe. Even more, the work that is done here to save lives and improve lives is truly impressive, and we all collectively thank you, Catherine, and the Family Justice Center. So let's do that. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Approximately 80% of women at some point in their lives experience sexual assault or sexual harassment. 20% experience an actual assault. 3% of men experience a sexual assault. We have to take this issue seriously because all North Carolinians deserve to be and feel safe. Last year, as we've heard, we cleared the backlog of untested rape kits, what had been the largest backlog in the entire nation. We tested approximately 12,000 kits. Those kits were then connected to 2,700 hits in the CODIS database. And so far, there have been more than 250 arrests. And I want to underscore so far, because there is more work to be done. Every one of those hits is a lead. It takes a cold case and makes it very warm. We have to pursue those leads to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to find those perpetrators, hold them accountable, take them off the streets where they cannot hurt anyone else, and finally deliver justice to survivors. It was a bipartisan and collaborative effort that produced this achievement. Republican and Democratic legislators, district attorneys, law enforcement officers, scientists at the state crime lab, they all played a critical role in clearing the backlog. But I don't believe we would have been able to do any of it if it had not been for the advocates. The survivors of sexual assault, just like Valerie, bravely testified in the General Assembly about their experiences and the urgency of our finally tackling the backlog. It's because of their courage that we can bring justice to survivors and put rapists behind bars. Ending the backlog was only that first step. We need to pursue every lead that has been discovered. That's why in my budget, I've asked the General Assembly to fund a cold case unit of investigators at the State Bureau of Investigation. Here's the thing, our law enforcement is overburdened. They're stretched. There are sexual assaults that happened yesterday, that happened last week, that happened a month ago, and inevitably they have a higher priority than one that happened 15 or 20 years ago. But that doesn't mean we should not pursue those cases, and law enforcement are pursuing the cases, but we can help them if we have this specialized unit at the State Bureau of Investigation to work with local law enforcement. I intend to continue to do everything in my power to help law enforcement solve cold cases so that we can get offenders off the streets. It's never too late to hold a rapist accountable and bring justice to a victim of this heinous crime. In addition to the budget proposal, Secretary Esparza laid out the work that happens in the Department of Administration with our Council for Women and Youth Involvement. They fund sexual assault programs in 96 of North Carolina's 100 counties. They do critical and life-saving work, offering counseling, 24-hour crisis lines, transportation, and court and advocacy services. Like Secretary Esparza said, these recipients of the grants end up touching the lives of thousands of North Carolinians, including children and teenagers. Last year, the organizations did 2,500 group sessions for survivors, many of which, a quarter of which, were for children. We are proud to partner with the many nonprofits across the state toward these shared goals, including the North Carolina Coalition Against Sexual Assault, led by longtime champion State Representative Monica Johnson-Hostler. Each of us has a role in reducing the number of people who suffer from this terrible crime. That's why I am proud to proclaim April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, so that we can raise awareness of this ongoing issue and commit ourselves to educating our communities to recognize it so that we can stop it. Let's all do our part to create a safer, stronger, healthier North Carolina where none of us live in fear of violence. It is my honor to sign the proclamation now. Thank you all. I'll be happy to take some questions.
Thank you so much.
And you can direct the questions to any of us, and we're happy to do our best if there are any.
Governor.
Yes.
Kevin Griffin, the Recent Record.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you about, I guess, one of the big news stories of the day, which is the tariffs going into effect nationally.
Yeah.
What do you see as the impact those will have in North Carolina, and does the state have any response plan for those?
Yeah, well, I'm gravely concerned, like most everyone else. Tariffs will raise the costs on consumers at a time when folks are already struggling with things costing too much. Similarly, we have a lot of businesses that do a lot of exports. Agriculture, the #1 industrial sector in North Carolina, a quarter of all agricultural products are sold abroad. When you start a trade war, the other countries will raise the tariffs on our products, making it harder for us to sell to them. All the costs of all the manufacturing that goes on in this state, the inputs that we get from other countries, are going to increase costs. I'm really concerned about the impact of tariffs on Western North Carolina's recovery. The federal government, we have $1.4 billion from HUD to do housing reconstruction. That's to pie. if each slice of the pie costs 20% or 30% more, that means there will be 20 to 30% fewer homes that we're able to help, families that can get back into their homes. So I am really concerned about the impact of tariffs on people's lives. I'm also concerned that we seem to be on the edge of a potential recession. All the economists are saying that the likelihood of recession has dramatically increased. I urge the president to walk back from these trade wars. I urge the Congress to exercise the authority that the Constitution gives them, which is to have ultimate say on whether tariffs are imposed.
Governor Stein, Joshua Davis, WXII 12 News, thank you for your time. You mentioned a cold case unit. I'm curious, can you elaborate a little bit more about that? What resources can you allocate to them that'll make them effective?
The State Bureau of Investigation exists to support local law enforcement on investigations when requested. And what I want is to have a dedicated group at the State Bureau of State Bureau of Investigations who are experienced sexual assault investigators, who know how to do this work in a trauma-informed way. They know how to interact with victims in a way that provides them support as well as solving the crime. They can also train local law enforcement across the state. And I think if we have those specialized investigators, we will see dramatically an increase in the number of these cold cases that get solved, and that will put more dangerous people behind bars where they cannot hurt anyone else.
Is this the first of its kind?
That I don't know. I know that actually local law enforcement often has sexual assault units, but this would be dedicated to just helping on these cold cases and whatever other sexual assault cases that local law enforcement has. Anything else?
Okay, great. Thank you. We're going to do some photos. We're going to do our speakers first, if y'all want to pop up. If somebody can help me with this podium, I'd greatly appreciate it. We got to move it this way.
Thank you so much.
Just push it in the corner.
Thank you.
I would like to push it in that
I'm gonna push it that way out of your way because it might get.
Thank you.
It just rolls.
Oh, it rolls?
Yeah, it just rolls.
Oh, okay.
Where do you want it, sir?
Back there.
Back in the corner? I got it.
Can we clear the, and then your mics will be on the podium.
Oh, perfect. I'm just gonna. Yep, go for it. Thank you. I'm sorry.
You're fine. Oh, and how do you do?
Everybody, where's your tripod?
Look at that.
Welcome to the mic.
Yep.